All right, everybody, welcome back to the number one television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Brad Thor, Shadow of a Doubt. This is his newest book in the Scott Harvath international spy thriller series. This is book number 23. Book number 1 is The Lions of Lucerne, if you want to start at the beginning. And now I do say this is the newest book in the series. It came out over 6 months ago. But if you follow my channel for any length of time, you know that 6 months ago I was in the hospital. And normally a Brad Thor book comes out, I buy it that day and read it that day, like the day of release. I couldn't do it this time. I was in the hospital. And then I got out of the hospital and my TBR, my books that I needed to read stack of books was so high that this one just fell to December. But normally I read these when they come out. Now here's the thing. Let's talk a little bit about Scott Harvath and Brad Thor. I did meet Brad Thor a long time ago when his first 2 books were out. I went to a book signing of his at the Sugar House Barnes & Noble in Salt Lake City, Utah. He did sign my first 2 Scott Harvath novels, and I talked to him a little bit. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Back then, he didn't have a huge amount of fans. I think I was the only person at the book signing. He talked to me for quite a while about books and publishing and things like that. Gave me the name of his agency, the literary agency that represented him, because I said I wanted to write. I had written some books of my own. But anyway, now I work out of the same literary agency that he works out of. So he did give me a good piece of advice with that literary agency, and now I am represented by one of the agents in that agency. So thank you, Brad Thor, for that. I bought all of his books. In fact, I've got all of them over here. We'll pan through the library. I've got all the Brad Thor, Scott Harvath's books on that shelf right there. So, I've been buying these ever since the first one came out. And I've been a fan ever since. And I love thriller novels. And Shadow of a Doubt, book number 23. Let's talk about the cover first, because I love graphic design and cover illustrations. Part of the book buying experience for me is just getting a pretty thing to put on my shelf. And I think they always do a pretty good job with the Brad Thor books. They always do nice fonts, big, bold. Here you can. It's just subtle, but you can see the background of a building of some kind. And then Shadow of a Doubt with the flag and all that stuff. And then on the back, of course, you got a picture of the dude. This Scott Harvath is just a badass spy guy, assassin guy. Sort of like a Jack Reacher, but not quite as tough. He's smaller than Jack Reacher. He's not as witty or funny or kick-ass as Jack Reacher. He's more of like the Tom Cruise version of Jack Reacher, if I may say so. But you get the point. He's like a James Bond-esque figure, a Gray Man-esque figure, a Jack Reese, Jack Carr, I can't remember, James Reese, Jack Carr, Terminal List type figure. Just a badass spy. Jason Bourne, badass spy. You know what I mean. You get the point. And he's been through 23 previous adventures where he saves the world in every single one of them. It's just been amazing. And so in this one, it opens up with the country of Belarus, which is near Russia, somewhere over there. They claim to have now got nukes, nuclear weapons, like really powerful, like the most powerful. And everybody's like, oh my God, why does that small nation have these nukes? That's kind of what the prologue is about. Then we open with Scott Harvath flying to Norway after the harrowing experience he had in Ukraine. Now he's flying to Norway. He's got a girlfriend there. He wants to R&R with his girlfriend. In Norway, and he's on a plane, and there's an incident on the plane where he has to fight this guy. There's an unruly passenger on the plane who is twice the size of Scott Harvath, and he has to fight this guy. And Won't tell you how that ends, but anyway, the plane ends up landing. The and then he's in Norway, and different things are going on. And just to I don't want to spoil any much of the plot, so I'm going to read the book jacket and then give you my because the book jacket here has a pretty good. Now, when I bear in mind, people, when I read out loud, it is a disaster. So just bear with me. But I think that this goes. Some book jackets give terrible. They give a terrible view of what's really going on in the book. This one, I think, does a really good job, better than I could like paraphrase it. So, in a world shrouded in shadows, where doubt is the only weapon, can one spy expose the truth? Bum, bum, bum. A mysterious cargo plane, flanked by a squadron of Russia's most lethal fighters, has just taken off from a remote airbase, closely monitored by the United States. No one inside the Pentagon has any idea where it's going or what it's carrying. I think I just told you it was carrying nukes to Belarus. Maybe. A high-level Russian defector, a walking vault of secrets that could shatter the West, seeks asylum in Norway. Across the continent, in the heart of Paris, a lone French agent stumbles upon a conspiracy so explosive it could ignite a global firestorm. I had a Paris t-shirt I was going to wear. I just couldn't find it because I've got about 17,000 t-shirts in my closet. Rouen, France was the closest I could get. As alarm bells ring in Washington, America's top spy, Scott Harvath, is forced to choose between his conscience and his country. Seems like he has to make that choice every time, in every book. But that's okay. You'll be left breathless as Harvath is swept into a whirlwind of double agents, international intrigue, and heart-stopping chases. Again, those things happen in about every one of these books. Find out why Brad Thor is called the master of thrillers and America's favorite author. Read Shadow of Doubt today. He's one of my favorite authors. I don't know if he's America's #1 favorite author, like the jacket says, but let's just say that he is. I like the Brad Thor, Scott Harvath thrillers. They're all dynamite from beginning with Lions of Lucerne all the way to book number 23. They're dope. I like following this character and his adventures, and I mean, he's got a girlfriend in this book. I think he started out with a wife in book 1. That's a lot of books to go losing your wife. But anyway, somewhere between book 1 and 23, he gets a girlfriend. Anyway, Shadow of Doubt. I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Great book, great author, great dude. At least the one time I met him, he seemed like a great dude. And that's my review of this book.